how can we really be inspired to practice and meditate? I don't know. Meditation is it's a very vague term. When you say to someone, I'm training, and you wait for what comes next. Are you training for gardening? Baseball? So meditation means nothing. It means training the mind, cultivating. So basically, it's a spiritual practice, traveling the path. Okay, now to do something that is not always easy. If you go in the mountains here to do trekking, when they say, "Oh, it's just there," then you realize you have to go all the way down and all the way up again. And it might be nice weather, might be hail falling, might be fantastic landscape. Who knows? So, but the thing is, you have the joy in form of effort. Actually, that's the definition of the paramita of endeavor or diligence, is the joy towards practicing virtue. So the effort towards virtue. In order to sustain an effort, you have to see the benefit of it. That's why in every Dharma teaching, it gives the benefit of the practice and the defect of not engaging in it. Because that's what, would keep on you inspired. Every step makes sense, even if it's sometimes hard. So, and when meditation is boring, it's not the fault of meditation. It's your own obstacles. So that's why I think is to have a clear view of your goal, and then do it regularly. Again, if it's not the days where you don't feel too much, perhaps that's where you make most progress, because you somehow overcome those reasons that you feel bored or whatever. You don't feel to do it. So we always say that it's always better to have short, regular, repeated efforts than big one from time to time. So the example is like, when you water your plants. If you put a big bucket every month, in the meantime, the plant has died. So every day, a little bit of water, and again. So a stream, and if you put a few times a day, even a few minutes, to keep the stream going and growing, and so that's the main thing. Repeated, regular, set moments of practice. And then retreat, it's that, okay, at some point, I just want to immerse myself completely into that. And of course, that's very powerful. When you see a high-level sportman at 6 o'clock in the morning running around in the empty stadium, what is he doing? He's training. A musician who does this boring thing for hours before playing Bach or Mozart, it's not particularly fun, but it's training. So, you could take doping substances and all that to get a little bit an edge over other marathon runners that have trained all their life. But without training at all, you say, okay, I'm going to have a big boost of doping and I will run quicker than those guys. You are not going to... I would not run more than 500 meters even I get all the shots of doping in the world. So basically, as someone who is a bodhisattva or even enlightened one, it will be the same everywhere. In the middle of traffic jams, middle of big crowds, it will be just wisdom and compassion all the way. Now, but if we try to train in such adverse and distracting circumstances, in a way we are too weak to become strong. So we need, while we are still, those qualities are still in the fledgling state, in nascent state, we need to provide the conditions that it can grow properly. A huge baobab tree can withstand storms. But, at the time I will suggest a little thing is we really have to protect it against wind and water and goats passing by and wanting to eat everything that looks green. So that's what the idea. And then when people say, oh, it's very selfish because you are isolating yourself far from the troubles of the world. But it's like you say, when you build a hospital, for 3 years or 2 years or whatever, all the pipes, electricity doesn't cure anyone. So, what is useless? Let's operate in the street. Okay, if it's an emergency, you should do it. But otherwise, when the hospital is ready, it's so much more powerful. So the idea is to provide ourselves the conditions so that we can then, free ourselves from all the mental toxins and ignorance and progress toward, on the bodhisattva path, so that we gain the capacity to serve others. Otherwise, we're like a beggar trying to give a banquet to 100 beggars. It doesn't work. So that's the point. It's not just to have a nice time far from everything and not pay taxes. I did about 5 years of solitary retreat in pieces here and there. This was the most, besides being with my teacher, that was the most fruitful, rewarding, I feel completely at home time of my life. I never felt bored. I never felt the time was long. When I was at the beginning of 1 year, I said, I have 1 year ahead of me. So that's very precious. Time becomes very precious. So practice is very precious because of the result it gives. There's no samsara 2.0 that works well. So it's hopeless. So better get rid of it. And besides practice, there's no way. Can't be repaired. Just to get out of it.